is no man. What can this be but a noble angel here? Despite all his determination, the governor's wife renewed her ugly proposition in front of a large crowd. She said that if he opposed her, she would throw him into a dungeon. She said, "You see, it's him you blamed me for. I tried seducing him, but he refused. If he does not do what I order him, he will be put in prison and brought low." Prophet Yusuf was most determined, however. He immediately sought refuge in God and sincerely begged for his assistance. He, Yusuf, said, "My Lord, the prison is preferable to me than what they call on me to do. Unless you turn their guile away from me, it may well be that I will fall for them and so become a man of ignorance." His Lord replied to him and turned away from him their female guile and deviousness. He is the one who hears, the one who knows. In fact, everyone knew that he was innocent. Yet they still took an unconscionable decision and threw him into a dungeon, where he remained for many years. The Egyptian king had a dream and was most interested to learn what it meant. He therefore asked all the seers and wise men in the land. Yet none of them were able to interpret his dream. It was just then that someone who had been in prison with Prophet Yusuf mentioned him to the king. The king declared, "I dreamt of 7 fat cows, which 7 thin ones ate, and 7 green ears of wheat, and some others which were dry. O counselors, explain my dream to me if you are those who can interpret visions." They said, "A jumbled mass of mixed-up dreams. We do not know the meaning of such things." The one of them who had been saved then said, remembering after a period, "I will tell you what it signifies, so send me out." Everything was happening in line with a plan prepared by God for Prophet Yusuf. Forgotten for years in a dungeon, Prophet Yusuf was suddenly remembered by the will of God. This was how Prophet Yusuf interpreted the king's dream. He said, "Sow for 7 years in the normal way, and leave that which you harvest in the ear, except for a small amount from which you eat. Then after that 7 hard years will arrive, in which you can eat from what you set aside for them, except for a little which you store. Then after that another year will come in which the people will be helped by rain in plenty, and when they once more will press." In the wake of that interpretation, the king sent a messenger to call Prophet Yusuf to him. Yet he sent the messenger back to the king with a number of important questions in order that his innocence should be revealed. The king said, "Bring him to me straight away." But when the envoy came to him, he said, "Go back to your master and inquire of him what happened about the woman who cut their hands. My lord has knowledge of their cunning guile." In response to his question, the king gathered the women together and asked for the truth of the matter. He said, "What was this past affair of yours when you solicited Yusuf?" Then they said, "God forbid, we know no bad of him." The governor's wife then said, "The truth has now emerged. Indeed, I tried to seduce him then, and he has simply told the honest truth." After so many years, the truth finally emerged. The way that Prophet Yusuf spent years in prison despite being totally innocent contains something very auspicious. Every moment experienced by this holy prophet had been planned in the sight of God. Throughout his time in prison, he had grown deeper and more mature in faith. In addition, the situation in Egypt had been arranged in such a way as to bring him to power. Prophet Yusuf went to the king who had called for him. This was the beginning of a whole new period for him. The king rewarded him with an important position and made him his counselor. Prophet Yusuf became responsible for the Egyptian treasury. At that time, a most important development took place. Those brothers who had thrown him into the well came to Egypt for reasons of trade. And the person who would appear before them was Prophet Yusuf. His brothers failed to recognize him, but he immediately recognized them. He treated them most hospitably and offered them material benefits. In implementing his plan, he actually had another aim in mind. He wanted to see his youngest brother. The brothers of Yusuf came into his presence, and he knew them, but they did not know him. Then, having supplied their needs, he said to them, "Bring me your brother, your father's youngest son. Do you not see that I dispense full measure and am the most hospitable of hosts? But if you do not bring him here to me, your measure from me then will be denied, and you will not come near to me at all." His brothers did not want to lose the material benefits offered to them. They therefore immediately left Egypt and returned to their father, asking for their youngest brother. But Prophet Yaqub did not trust them. He said, "How will my trusting him to your